The shuttle slides through the lavender skies of Gyra like a silent blade, its metallic hull glinting against the twin suns. Commander Elias Ward pressed a hand to the window, watching as the capital city, a dazzling sprawl of crystal towers and floating gardens, stretched beneath him. It was beautiful, yes, but it felt like enemy territory. He wasn't here to admire the view. He was here to deliver condolences, smile for the cameras, and leave before politics got messy. That was the plan. Plans, as Elias knew too well, had a habit of burning. He adjusted his uniform and checked the mission data one last time. Present Earth's offer. Sign the treaty. Don't offend the princess. Simple enough. Yet something about this assignment gnawed at him. Earth had dozens of diplomats. Why send a soldier? Why him? The shuttle touched down with a soft hiss. Waiting for him was Princess Kylira, heir to the Gyran throne, and, if his intelligence briefings were correct, one of the most influential figures in Concord. She was nothing like he expected. Taller than him by an inch, her emerald skin shimmered faintly under the sunlight, and silver filaments were woven through her jet-black hair like starlight. Her eyes, bright violet and sharp with curiosity, studied him as though she were dissecting a puzzle. "Commander Ward," she greeted, voice melodic but laced with amusement. "You look surprisingly polite for someone your records describe as recklessly insubordinate." Elias raised an eyebrow. "I clean up well, Your Highness." The smallest flicker of a smile touched her lips. "We'll see." The palace tour began as a diplomatic courtesy, but it quickly turned into a duel of wits. Kylira's teasing jabs met Elias's dry humor with sparks of tension neither wanted to acknowledge. Yet beneath her playful exterior, he sensed something heavier, an unease she tried to hide. When they reached the Hall of Relics, Kylira gestured to a dusty, ancient suit of armor displayed on a pedestal. "No one's been able to activate it in centuries," she said lightly. "Legend claims it chooses its wearer." Then, with a sly grin, "Care to try your luck, human?" Elias chuckled and stepped forward. What's the worst that could happen? The moment his fingers brushed the cold metal, the chamber trembled. Glyphs ignited with blinding light. And in the stunned silence that followed, Kylira's teasing smile vanished. "By the stars," she whispered, "it's awake." The chamber hadn't stopped humming since the armor stirred to life. Light pulsed along its plates, running in intricate veins across Elias's chest as if the metal itself were breathing. He stood frozen, unsure whether to rip it off or surrender to whatever was happening. The weight wasn't crushing, though. It felt alive, warm, almost like a heartbeat syncing with his own. Kylira's expression was a storm of disbelief and fear. She circled him slowly, her fingertips hovering inches from the glowing surface. "This isn't possible," she muttered. "The Etherian hasn't answered anyone in over 700 years. "Maybe it just missed the sound of sarcasm," Elias quipped, trying to ignore the nervous thrum in his chest. Her eyes snapped up, sharper now. "Don't joke about this. That armor isn't a toy. It's older than our empire. Some believed it was built by the ancestors themselves, forged to choose a single bearer when our world faced annihilation." She hesitated before adding, "I never thought it would choose a human." The palace guards burst in, weapons raised, shouting in their language. Kylira stepped between them and Elias with a commanding wave. "Stand down," she ordered. "If the Etherian has awakened, he is not an intruder. He is the fulcrum of something far larger." Elias frowned. "Fulcrum. That's comforting." She ignored his comment and gestured for him to follow. "We can't stay here. The council will panic when they hear what's happened, and panic makes powerful people do stupid things." They slipped into the palace's lower levels, weaving through torchlit tunnels older than most civilizations. Along the way, Kylira spoke in hurried whispers of ancient wars, forgotten enemies, and a prophecy that foretold a stranger born under a different sky who would reawaken Gyra's guardian. "The legend said he'd either save us," she said grimly, "or doom us all." Elias stopped in his tracks. "And which one am I?" Her gaze lingered on the glowing armor clinging to his frame. "I think," she said softly, "that depends on the choices you make next." Outside, alarms howled across the city. Something had shifted the moment the armor came alive, and somewhere beyond Gyra's skies, something ancient had noticed. The tunnels beneath the palace twisted like the roots of a colossal tree, branching deeper into darkness with every turn. Elias followed Kylira in uneasy silence, the glowing lines on his armor casting ghostly light across ancient stone. It felt surreal. Hours ago he was just a soldier on a routine mission. Now, he was walking through a forgotten labyrinth, wearing a relic that supposedly chose heroes from legend. Kylira stopped before a sealed archway etched with alien symbols. She pressed her palm against the wall, whispering words in a language Elias didn't understand. The stone shivered and slid apart, revealing a hidden chamber lined with towering pillars and holographic murals depicting battles against monstrous, shadow-like beings. "These," Kylira said, stepping into the room, "are the Abyssborn, the reason the Etherium was created. They are not conquerors. They are devourers. Wherever they go, stars die and civilizations vanish." Elias studied the images, towering figures of darkness swallowing fleets, ripping planets apart. It looked more like a myth than history, but the fear in Kylira's voice was real. "My ancestors built the armor to fight them," she continued. "But the weapon isn't just metal and circuits. It's alive, connected to an ancient consciousness. Only a chosen bearer can awaken it fully. And you're saying that's me?" Elias asked, skepticism edging his tone. "Whether you believe it or not, the armor believes it." The room trembled slightly, a low hum vibrating through the floor. A moment later, a voice, not Kylira's, echoed in Elias's mind. It was deep, resonant, and alien, speaking directly into his thoughts. "Guardian protocol initiated. Threat proximity, rising. Host adaptation, incomplete." Elias staggered. "Did you hear that?" Kylira's lips tightened. "No, but I can guess what it said." Before they could speak further, an urgent alarm blared through the palace's underground. Kylira's wrist communicator lit up with frantic messages, orbital defense systems failing, unidentified ships breaching Gyra's atmosphere. "They are here," she whispered, eyes widening. Elias glanced at the holograms of the Abyssborn again, and for the first time, they didn't look like ancient nightmares. They looked like an incoming reality. And somewhere deep inside the armor, a surge of power stirred, not just waiting to be used, but demanding to be unleashed. The ground shuddered beneath their feet as the first explosion ripped through the city above. Dust rained from the ceiling of the catacombs, and a distant, bone-deep roar echoed down the stone corridors. Elias felt his pulse spike, the armor's glowing veins pulsing faster as if sensing the danger before he did. "They're attacking already?" he asked, tightening his grip on the plasma sidearm holstered at his hip. Kylira's expression hardened. The planetary shield should have held for hours. Something, or someone, must have sabotaged them. They sprinted through the tunnels toward an emergency transport lift. As it ascended, fragments of the chaos unfolding above flickered across the armor's visor, defense turrets overrun, ships dropping from orbit like black comets, and creatures, living shadows with eyes like burning coals, tearing through soldiers as if they were made of paper. The lift doors hissed open, revealing a city under siege. Towers that once shimmered with crystal light were ablaze. Streets lay in ruins. And above it all, massive void ships loomed, their hulls absorbing sunlight instead of reflecting it. "Welcome to your prophecy," Elias muttered grimly. Kylira led him through a devastated plaza toward the central command spire. "The Council will try to evacuate civilians," she explained between breaths. "But if the Abyssborn breach the inner city, it won't matter. They'll consume everything." As they ran, a hulking creature crashed down in front of them, its shape twisting like liquid smoke. Elias raised his weapon, but before he could fire, the armor reacted on its own. Energy surged through his arm, forming a brilliant shield that absorbed the monster's strike. His body moved before his mind caught up, twisting, countering, releasing a blast of radiant force that hurled the creature into a collapsing wall. Kylira stayed, stunned. "You're adapting to it faster than anyone ever has." Elias was breathing hard, but a strange certainty thrummed through him. The armor wasn't just reacting. It was guiding him, teaching him, unlocking potential he didn't know existed. More creatures appeared on the horizon, their shadows stretching like claws toward the city's heart. Elias squared his shoulders and glanced at Kylira. "Then let's see what else this thing can do," he said. "Because if this is just the beginning, they're in for one hell of a fight." Smoke curled through the fractured skyline as Elias and Kylira pushed deeper into the chaos. Sirens wailed in the distance, punctuated by the guttural screeches of the Abyssborn. Civilians fled through broken streets, their terror a living thing in the air. Every instinct told Elias to fight, but the armor was whispering something else, pulsing with a strange urgency that tugged him toward the palace. "They are not just attacking randomly," he said, scanning the destruction. "They are moving in formation, converging on a single point." Kylira's eyes widened. "The heart chamber. They are after the core. If they corrupt it, Gyra dies." The two sprinted toward the palace ruins, dodging debris and enemy patrols. Along the way, Elias used the armor's evolving abilities with increasing precision, creating barriers to shield fleeing civilians, blasting back attackers, even repairing collapsed structures with bursts of raw energy. But each use came at a cost. His heartbeat stuttered, and fatigue clawed at his muscles. The power was vast, but not limitless. Inside the palace, they found the chamber doors torn apart. A towering Abyssborn commander stood before the glowing core, tendrils of shadow wrapping around its crystalline surface. The room pulsed with corrupt energy, and the air itself seemed to warp. "It's draining the planet," Kylira whispered. "If it succeeds, there will be nothing left save." The armor hummed violently, projecting a vision into Elias's mind, a choice. He could unleash its full potential, channeling every ounce of his life force into a single strike that would obliterate the Abyssborn, but it would almost certainly kill him. The alternative was retreat, regrouping for another fight, but by then, Gyra might already be lost. He looked at Kylira, her gaze fierce and unyielding even in the face of annihilation. "If this is how I go out," he said quietly, "I'm glad it's for something that matters." She stepped closer, placing a trembling hand on his armored chest. "You're not doing this alone." The armor's glow intensified as their connection deepened, drawing strength not just from Elias, but from their shared resolve. He stepped forward, the decision made. This wasn't just about destiny anymore. It was about choice, sacrifice, and the belief that even in the face of darkness, one act of courage could rewrite fate.